song you want to hear next?
Hey, you're 18. Fish out. Smith and Wesson. Colt. Smith and Wesson. Colt. Smith and Wesson. Colt.
Now guys, don't argue. Plus, we all know that Ruger beats them all anyway.
Daddy. Daddy won the DNA test.
When the United States entered World War I in 1917, the official sidearm was, of course, the M1911. As with rifles, demand well outpaced production in the beginning, and as with rifles, where the Springfield 1903 was supplemented by the M1917 quote-unquote Enfield rifle, the M1911 was supplemented by another M1917. Colt and Remington were already at maximum capacity producing 1911s, so the two biggest revolver makers, Colt and Smith & Wesson, were asked to develop a revolver that could fire the rimless .45 ACP cartridge. After the Spanish-American War and Philippine insurrection, the United States decided to go back to .45 caliber from handguns, as there were many complaints about the lack of stopping power from the .38 Long Colt. My April 4, 2016 video talked about the .38 Long Colt, as I performed a jug test comparing the .38 Long Colt to .45 Long Colt to .45 ACP. From this came the M1909 New Army that was a double single action, since the .45 Long Colt prior to the 1892 and 1901 shot the .38 Long Colt were single action only. Of course, this was soon replaced by the 1911. To supplement the 1911s, Colt and Smith & Wesson basically adopted their large frame revolvers to fire the .45 ACP. A Smith & Wesson engineer, Naomi Allen, invented the half-moon clip so the rimless rounds could be easily extracted. Colt was allowed to use the half-moon clip free of charge to design their own version of the revolver. They both carry the designation M1917, but the Colt and Smith & Wesson are not identical. The Colt is basically a rechambered M1909, and the Smith & Wesson is a .44 model hand ejector chambered in .45 ACP. Holding the two side by side, the Colt is noticeably heavier than the Smith. The biggest difference, though, with the Colt, at least in the early years, which mine appears to be, you absolutely have to have the clip or the cartridge sinks into the cylinder. The Smith had a shoulder machine which allowed you to load and fire the cartridge without the clip, and the later Colts finally machined a shoulder into their cylinder also. One major difference between the Smith and the Colt is you can actually load the Smith without the moon clips. But let's see what happens when you try to do that with the Colt. It gets way in there. You know, the firing pin won't hit it, and you'll have to actually push it out with the pin. If you do fire this without the clip, the cases need to be poked out individually, as the extractor will not push these cases out. About 150,000 from each company were produced and served well during the war. After the war, they found their way into the surplus markets, with some Smiths even being produced commercially. Brazil ordered a batch in 1937 for their military from Smith. Since I shot these in the same outing, I got a good side-by-side comparison. I can tell that my Colt is definitely more worn than my Smith, as there is one shot that does not catch every time. The Smith performed flawlessly. Even not taking their wear into account, if I had to choose one over the other, I would pick the Smith, mainly for the reason that you can use it without the moon clips. It is also lighter, so that would make carrying it easier. Still, and this pains me as a red-blooded American to say this, but if I were in World War I would take the Webley over either of these 1917s. Please remember to donate to CMAX. I'll put a link to that below. There are several pistol giveaways led by Bald and Curious, along with the Crazy Scotsman, Insight Freedom, Ed USAF, Allenby Pro, and there's been a couple more pistols added and items added to this. And I'm also throwing in a FN pistol too. So if you like what you see, please comment, like, subscribe, check out my Facebook, Twitter, and check out who I support on Patreon. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a great day. So, let's see if the Smith will fire without the moon clips real quick.
Do a fortress that takes a dive, show you the more to break these laws. See the seal is much too long. Get Peter Riggs, control the world. It's a red, the sad, the star, and the ICT, but figure 80, but not too much.